Hello everybody and welcome to the Imperial Ants channel. Today we're going to be showing off what we've just got from the Northampton Reptile Centre in terms of our plant. So let's have a straight look. I probably, to get all this, probably spent about £50 at Northampton Reptile Centre, and all these things I'm about to show you, you can also find on their website at the Reptile Centre. So first off, we'll start with the biggest plant I think I've found. This little beauty is called a red emerald, or philodendron. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably murdering it. However, this is a very compact climber. It doesn't really spread out that much, but already it's a very decent size for a tank. It has large aching leaves, and I've just drawn to it. It'll be a very good addition to the tank. It'll take up a bit of that space I need to fill in, because with a 4-foot tank, you have got quite a lot of space you need to fill in, otherwise it's going to look too bare. This plant, as far as I'm aware, has not got like a normal name in terms of a non-Latin, so I'm going to have a go at the pronunciation. It's called a Schefflera arboricola. Schefflera arboricola. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but this is a very bushy shrub. It will grow quite large in terrarium, and from my own research I know this thrives in a humid terrarium setup. These are perfect if you've got arboreal lizards, boreal insects. As you know, this is an Imperial Ants channel, so I'm trying to think of some insect ants we could probably house and use this as a nest. Something like weaver ants or any other kind of ants. Anyone got any suggestions, please let me know, and I'll gladly consider all suggestions I get. So that is our main tree really of the vivarium, which hopefully will do us nice and good. As you can tell from the other two plants I've already shown you, I've kind of gone a bit heavy on larger plants that don't take up a great deal of room. Yes, they may look large, but they're not going to grow out as much. This little guy is extremely good for ground cover. What's going to happen is they do not grow upwards, they grow to the sides and go along the ground. So this will provide a very nice blanket, as it would, a plant on the floor. However, these can grow very, very quickly. So will require pruning just to ensure it doesn't take over your terrarium. Otherwise, this would grow from one end to the other, and you just have this as your plant. So it needs constant maintenance. So you're going to have to prune it every so often just to make sure it doesn't get too excessive. Here we have a flamingo flower. Proper name, Vivarium. But this plant is it's quite a common house plant you can get in the UK if you look around for it. But obviously it's got the striking red colours on it. Very attractive flower. This plant thrives in warm, humid conditions. This plant also is very good as a background plant, or a plant that's kind of like a centerpiece, as the leaves will clump together and create a kind of very dense foliage at the back of the tank. However, I'll probably use this quite centrally because I really do like the striking red colours of it, and it does add a very good colour to the terrarium itself. Here, I'm not sure on the name, I don't know what it is really, but I have looked at the shop, and I've looked at I've tried to find as much research as I can without actually knowing the name. But this will grow very tall, very fast. This has been told, this is the fastest growing plant out of all these plants, and when it decides to grow, it goes. It may take a few weeks to get going, but it'll shoot straight up. This will be perfect for adding a bit of depth and just giving the terrarium a bit of a new lease of life, and maybe once it's grown and got a bit stronger, it could also house arboreal species and such. It'll also make a great addition to the variety we have in the tank. This is another plant I grabbed from Northampton. Again, they have no idea what the name is, so I'm just going to have to go with it. But I've had a look at the ones they have in the shop. What happens with this plant, it will spread out a bit, but it'll keep that very tall nature as well. And it creates quite a dense enclosure. Think of it as like a really tight forest, which I think will look amazing when you have all the little critters running around within, like the stalks and stems. And I think it will add a very nice look to the tank when it takes over its own little niche. Here we have another nice little plant. This is more like a small shrub. However, unlike the tall shrub we have over there, this will grow out and up. So it'll create a nice bush around it, but the leaves will lift up the floor. So what this will do, it will create a nice shaded area underneath it, which will hopefully provide an environment for anything that requires less light, more shade. It'll be quite interesting to see what creatures try to adapt to this low light environment that this bush will provide. Last two plants we've picked up, we've got two bromeliad species. Bromeliads do not require, or do not really, need soil. These are, a common term for these is air plants, even though they're not technically classed as air plants. Basically what it means is, rather than their roots latching onto soil and going underground to anchor themselves, what they'll do is, they'll actually anchor themselves around a bit of wood, a rock, or some other kind of hardcore structure which allows them to stand upright. So obviously they do not get their nutrients or the water from their root system. What you have here, you see their leaves all come into this central structure. The idea is rain falls on these leaves, gathers in here, and that's where it gets its water and nutrients from. Also with this one, it's less obvious to see, but you still have that kind of centralised whole structure here, which is going to be the main way these plants get their nutrients and water from. I think these do very well up high, so I'm going to plant them a bit higher, probably along some wood, just to give the tank another level of plant cover. Right guys, that is all the plants I've been able to collect from Northampton. Remember, all of these are available from the Reptile Centre online at reptilecentre.co.uk. But for me, that is it for today. There is a part 2 to this video where I'm going over all the hardware I've got from Northampton, including my misting kits and my ceramic heats and other little bits and bobs that will make the terrarium alive. So from that, that's it for me. Bye bye guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon. Goodbye.